Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar book review. This one is going to be for this book, the newly released Legend of Korra Art of the Animated Series Book 3 Change 2nd Edition Deluxe Edition. That's what this is. So basically, Korra Book 3 Art Book reprint, specifically the deluxe edition. So that's why you have the slipcase here in addition to the book and the lithograph as well. That's the dynamic that we have going on here with this. So we've done a few of these now. We know that there's not much to a lot of the new and unique aspects of it. So for the most part, we're just going to be taking a look at sort of the kind of visual presentation of this, kind of comparing it to the previous ones, taking a look at where the collection of the deluxe sets is at this point. So we're 4 out of 6 in at this point. Let's take a look at where we're going. So we'll start with the slipcase itself. So you can see here, it's the same sort of white and sort of faded grey element symbols in the background, with one logo as the sort of focus. This time they go for the fire symbol, which is interesting because it kind of seems a bit weird that okay, this is the Book 3 Change art book. Why the fire symbol? You kind of have to treat it less as this logo is specifically related to what the book of Korra is, and more as basically this part of the slipcases together. So to just quickly go through this, the Avatar art book, the first deluxe set, has just a glider symbol. So to sort of be a symbol to represent that ATLA only has one art book, so this is the kind of Aang symbol in a way. The Korra Book 1 art book is Book 1 Air, so they went with air as the symbol here. Korra Book 2, they went with the water symbol, which is fitting for Book 2 as well. It is the most water focused of those books, and so it sort of makes sense that getting mixed up with all these books here, but it kind of makes sense then that you go okay, fire here for Book 3 Change, even though it's not really related to fire, but then it actually works out for the next one, which will have an earth symbol on it, because Book 4 Balance is actually related to Earth Kingdom, Earth Empire. So actually the fire symbol for Book 3 is probably the only one where it doesn't really work thematically with the Korra book, but as the set of books in a row, the slipcases in a row, it does, you see what they're going for here. So that's that basically. The other thing, of course, is the spine image. This is probably the main unique aspect of this. Why a lot of people are buying this is just to have this as a display thing on their shelves. So let me put this together. I've completely messed it up here in showing them off all separately, but let me try and construct this together again. So this is Book 1, yeah, Book 2 here, getting kind of heavy now, 4, and yeah, this is a bit awkward to show off, but here you go. So you can see there, sort of, the spine image is coming together slowly but surely. This is very difficult to show off properly, but you can see it does work well. I can assure you, I'll just get these two to show it a bit easier. The spine image is working quite nicely, so it does come together very nicely. So no problems there, which is good. So no big omnibus edition error like with the Rift, which I've heard from some people that has been fixed if you look for a more recent printing of that book. I think they have fixed the Rift, so that's something I'll have to look out for as well. But yeah, that's basically it for the slipcase. We're 4 out of 6 of the way through. And then yeah, the quality of this is actually quite nice. That's the only other thing to say. It's quite thick and sturdy, but that's really all there is to say there. The other extra item that makes up the deluxe set is, of course, the lithograph that comes in this sort of folio case, as you can see here. So if you just open it up, you see you get your lithograph of the original Book 3 Change art book cover. Again, this is probably, I think, one of the weakest parts of the set because nothing printed on this folio cover. Again, the color is, I suppose, fits with the sort of white and kind of bluish navy color scheme that they're going for with the slipcases and so on. But no logo or anything like that on this. And then the print is nice. Like it's on nice paper. It's printed nicely. But as the main like extra thing really with the art book, it doesn't feel like it's up to standard considering that the price of the deluxe set is twice the price of the art book. So you're basically paying like $40 for the slipcase and this, which I don't think is worth it. So that's been, I think, the main complaint with the deluxe set start to finish is that, you know, effectively it's not value for money for sure. You're paying the money for this kind of cool collector's thing, and for me especially, just the idea of eventually I'll have these 6 books stacked up side by side with a really nice kind of image on them. That's kind of in a way what you're paying for here. The lithographs don't really mean all that much to me. I just wish there was like it was made out of like better materials. It was just done a little bit differently that actually made it like stand out as something truly collectible, and not just that like it's basically just kind of a slightly fancier kind of poster style thing. But that brings us to the book itself. Why am I pulling everything out upside down? So there is some uniqueness to the deluxe edition version of the book, just to make it slightly fancier. So you can see here, it does have foiling on the cover. Not sure how well you can see it, but basically the Legend of Korra logo is in silver foiling. Not used anywhere else on the cover. And given that the cover is very nice, I really do wish they'd used foiling somewhere, like even on the Avatar State of Korra's Eyes, like they did for the Avatar art book. It just feels like as it's gone on, it feels like in a way less and less effort has gone into making each deluxe set for the art books feel particularly unique, in that it's just like, yeah, just do the logo with the foiling. That's that. No real kind of, you know, thought process. Because again, the 4 Red Lotus members, Korra and the Avatar State in the cover, it's nice. But, you know, they could have done so much more with the foiling, different color foilings or stuff like that. The spine is just sort of standard. It does say 2nd edition on it. The back, I like that the back is sort of plain. There's no like barcode or anything like that on it. And you have cool shape here for the cutout image of Toph statue from Zaofu. The only other unique aspect is that there is a kind of ribbon bookmarker, which you can see here. It is blue. It's the same blue as all the other Korra art books. It's gold for the Avatar art book. Again, this is another thing where I just feel like I get it that for the Korra art book, sort of like blue is your color, whereas like gold is the one for the Avatar. But why didn't you change it up going from like book to book? Like you if you're doing a different, say, element for each of them, why not match it to that the ribbon bookmarker in this one is like red, the one for the air one is like orange or something like that, or yellow. Keep it blue for the water one and have it green for the next one. But no, it's just all blue, and it's just those little touches of like, this is a deluxe set. I expect it to be a little fancier, whereas it does feel like they've just created this formula, and really just, it's like, this is the book 3 iteration of this formula, and there's nothing particularly unique or stand out about it as a product. So getting into the book itself, there's some new pages, but again, it feels a little bit by the numbers, and that there's not too much fantastic about it. So the first new thing is the foreword, this time by David Faustino, voice actor for Mako. Obviously, Janet Varney did it for the book 1 Korra art book, and PJ Byrne did it for the book 2 one, and Seychelle Gabriel is going to be doing it for the book 4 art book. So, you know, it's 2 pages of text from David Faustino, written in July 2021. He basically, you know, just talks about his experience on Korra, you know, how he went into this audition, not expecting much, but then was so impressed with what he saw there. His experience working with everyone on the voice acting side of things, going to a convention and just seeing how popular the show is. It's nice, but there's nothing particularly stand out about it. The rest of the book is basically accurate. It's like there's no extra pages in the middle compared to the original release of the art book, which is obviously here. So in terms of that, like the main edition is obviously covers different. The new one has a foreword by David Faustino, and then there's 6 pages of extra art at the back here, which continue to be somewhat uninspired, in that it's one of the kind of things of okay, if you buy this book, there are some new pages here, but especially the last 2 art books, it felt very much that we don't know what to do here. Let's just put some random art in here. So you can see here Laura Montgomery art. So it is nice, but it's just, an earlier stage of the art on one page, the kind of more finalized version of the art on another page. So 2 images to cover 2 pages of the book just feels a little bit off. The same thing sort of here in that it's a bigger image, so it is nice, but again, it's just initial kind of final. Not even colored in or anything like that. And then kind of almost random in a way, you have the cover for this new art book featured for the first time in one of these books. Again, earlier stages of it, and that's how the book sort of comes to an end. So 6 new pages of art to cover 4 images. It's a big contrast to say the Avatar art book, which actually had loads of different new images from a bunch of the different creators, but as they've gone on, it's been oh yeah, and here's the 2 pieces of fan art effectively that Laura Montgomery did from 2 years ago, that we're going to cover over the course of this many pages. I don't like the inconsistency here, in that it just makes these pages feel throwaway and random. That I like the idea of including the sort of processes of the new covers, but all of the Deluxe 2nd edition art books have had new covers, and none of the other 3 have featured the cover art featured in the end of the book. So it makes it kind of feel like this is a missed opportunity across the series. It kind of makes it feel like the book 1, 2, and Avatar art book 2nd editions are behind because they didn't do this for their new cover. So I don't get that, and it makes it just feel so weird. Those images are nice, but they just feel random and throwaway, when you have art to actually put in here from official Korra products. The Blu-ray sets often have really fancy pieces of art specific for each of the books, in that there's been collector's sets, the Ultimate Edition sets just came out. Why not put in some of that stuff to kind of further update the book to match the fact that the initial release of the book came out 8 years ago, and that in those 8 years there has been a few things that probably do need to be added into the book. I just get very frustrated by the fact that they left some of that stuff out, kind of almost for no real reason. So in terms of a buying sort of decision for this, like I said in all the other videos, if you don't have any of the art books, that's probably the best situation to be in with regards to this, because then your choice is effectively, I think, do you like the idea of the sort of slipcases and the overall idea of you build the spine image and have this really cool collector's set of 6 books? If so, buy the deluxe set. If you don't like how expensive they sound and you don't really have the space for this big, collection of slipcases, you don't value the lithograph or any of the extra little foiling details like that, then all you need to do is just buy the standard release of the 2nd edition art book, which is going to have this new cover, just not with the foiling, but overall basically the same. It'll have the new pages in there. That's probably what you need to get. I believe the older releases with the older covers are still somewhat available, so it is an option for you. But I think unless you are a hardcore collector who values having sort of the display piece that the art book, the deluxes, are going to be, you don't need to spend the money on them. If you're like me and you already have all of the original art books, I think it's mainly just down to, are you a collector? Once again, like myself, you like the idea of what this is eventually going to create across the 6 books. That's the main thing that's going to make your decision for you. Because otherwise, I don't think the Deluxe is particularly good value for money. It does not need to be double the price. And of course, depending on where you get it from, it's not going to be double the price. But it still effectively always is. Even at the sort of reduced price you'll find online, it's still going to be basically double the price of the standard edition, because the standard edition is also available for cheaper. So, the same stuff effectively applies. That, this plus the lithograph is not worth 40. I question if it's even worth 20. But the slipcase is the main thing that kind of gives any sort of, I think, value to it. In terms of very brief thoughts on the actual art book itself, again, I reviewed this initially when it came out, and again, it's an art book, it's very difficult to review. They're nice, the way they cover all the information, and just getting to see all the different types of art, from like storyboard stuff to initial character concepts. There's a few issues, of course, with regards to I wish they were maybe a little bit more focused on the characters. It does feel like even main characters get a page, maybe 2 pages, and then never really get covered again. I wish there was more text explaining some of the design process, because it does often feel like there's not a lot of text to explain some of this stuff, or more depth could be gone into. I get, it's an art book, it's mainly meant to be a visual thing, but I do wish there was certain things were given a little bit more time. And in that sense, the likes of major new location or major new character, I think deserved a bit more time than they actually get. There's other things like say, I think the book 2 art book is actually more interesting than this one, just because it has the whole spirit aspect to it, where this one doesn't quite have that. But you have Zaofu, Red Lotus characters in here, which is quite good, and so on. So that's going to depend on, I suppose, which books of Avatar you find the most visually appealing to you. But that's just the situation that we're in. Final thing is just very quickly, the book 4 art book is out in July. That's the current release date, but it might get delayed again. That's the 5th of the 6 deluxe editions. I will be reviewing that when it comes out. Which leaves the 6th one, of course, which some people know about, some people don't know about. It's going to be a book called Beasts of the Four Nations. It's going to be a brand new book, so it's not a reprint. It is going to get a standard edition. It is going to get a deluxe edition, so it will be the 6th of these. It'll finish off the spine image. It'll have its own logo and stuff like that. It's basically a part art book, part encyclopedia about the animals of Avatar. So we don't know much about it, even though it was announced basically a year ago. The problem with this book is that since it went up as listings, it has still never been acknowledged by Dark Horse. There's no listing for this book on the Dark Horse official website. They've never posted about it existing on social media. It definitely is the 6th deluxe book, but until they post about it, it feels like it's in a situation where any information in regards to the release date probably doesn't mean all that much until they actually post about it. If you look on Previews World, it currently has I think a December 28th, 2022 release date. That is the last possible day in the year it could come out. So that might just be a placeholder date. It probably is just a placeholder date. But based off the book 4 art book, November, December-ish would realistically be when it comes out, because the typical gap between these books is 4 to 5 months. Sometimes it gets bigger, it depends on delays, which there might be more of for this book because it's a completely new book. They have a handful of new pages and new things to do with these reprint books, but that's a 200 plus page book where all the text is going to be basically new. I assume they're going to have to use pretty much all new imagery because they don't tend to use screenshots all that much. Depends on what exact approach they're going to take with the book. That's how little we know about it. How many new artists are they going to need? Or will they use screenshots from the show? But that book is very, very interesting, and it's part of, in a way, why like I've gone in on the deluxe editions, is just knowing that like, okay, it was cool already, but this mystery sixth book now being revealed to kind of be an animal encyclopedia-esque thing is a cool concept to me, and I do like that, bringing all the older books in with this new one. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to say here. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on the Book 3 Change art book, deluxe edition. What are your thoughts on the whole, you know, standard edition versus deluxe edition set? Do you think it's in any way worth the extra money, or is it purely just for collectors? And then where do you stand on Beasts of the Four Nations at this point? What do you think is going on with it? Do you think it will come out this year, or will it be delayed into next year? Because that's the exciting book. But yeah, there are my thoughts on the Book 3 Change art book. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. But that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.